Full needle size, roughly. This one's smidgen over. Dots TP will take a bit more off it actually. We've got one. I couldn't help but think that a knobbly tyre would be good because you can't grab the slippery tyre to twist it because it's real tight, you see. I can't grab it. Yeah, there's no knob. Yeah, I've got the actual pieces of remains of the bits and pieces of chopped up, mangled, butchered pieces of moose that have gone in. So they're fully in there. I've almost got the tyre half back on one side, and I've been here for hours trying to get this on. I've got the last flip to go. And you might think, oh, we'll spin it around and all this sort of thing, but you can't turn it because it's jammed up. So I'm trapped into working here. You can't really clamp it down to drop the tyre into the trough of the rim on the opposite side because of the moose. So that sort of theory would require some kind of clamping machine or the vice grips of some kind of Terminator hand or Arnold Schwarzenegger grip to get that sucker down. So I'm attempting to flip this last bit. The other thing that I'm sort of taking note of is that the rims on these things are very, very soft aluminium and they scratch and gouge easily. And I don't believe for a second that there's any way anyone's rim is going to survive any more than a couple of few tube or tyre changes before it's scratched up to hell. And the idea of a tubeless continuing to seal around the bead, I don't believe that's going to work. There's just too many. It's just so soft to scratch it. You can literally just press a dent into it. It's so soft. And that probably makes the metal more likely to buckle and to shatter. So it's possibly to do with, making it softer in that way rather than the harder, brittler, shattering style material. So that's my thoughts on the rims, is that the Moose is difficult to get on, but I can see that the rims are already getting scratched to hell. These are not steel rims like a motorcycle, and tubes just go flat too often, and tubeless, the beads will get scratched up, and who's going to come and scrape you up when you're in the middle of nowhere, when you've got a flat tyre on your tubeless tyre, and you can't reset it back onto the bead even if you manage to plug the hole or something like that, because there could be a scratch. Maybe you ran over a rock and scratched the rim and now it won't seat or something. And so there's just too many risks involved with even the idea of getting a flat. And it's like the idea of getting a flat is just totally outweighed by any other situations. So I'll keep going. Levered one side on. So we've got one side on. Trimming the moose correctly is very important. I had the moose in the tyre and out of the tyre at least 3 times. I've lost count. And it's really hard to do when you don't take the wheel apart and minimum tools and everything. So that ended up being the little pattern I used. You can see how it's got a nice little wedge at the top there. It's not very big. This is the standard pool noodle being trimmed down. But I think it pays to have a spare tyre and a piece of something and put it into that spare tyre and get it just right. It's got to be like within millimetres, because I'm using a higher compression rubber, which is like 20 psi or something like that. And it's very difficult to compress. And so trying to get the tyre compressed onto the bead, it's like super hard. So check your trimming, check it twice, check it 3 times. I don't know how long I've been at this, but so there you go, boom, that was dead easy. Putting in a mousse, no problems at all. Okay. Tyre iron. Now, this has been quite a laugh, because it's like when you get covered in slimy goo, it gets on everything. And as a note, don't start greasing up your first trim ups. You've got to really work on getting the trim just right, or getting the exact right mousse for your tyre would be a help. And again, with crazy tyre sizing and how each country's got their own craziness going on, I again say 14-inch rim has a 14-inch tyre. Tyre should say 14 on it. It has to if they want to sell it to me. So this greasy tyre iron, you can't pick up once you drop it, because it's like it's trapped on the floor. You can't actually get your fingers under it to get it off the ground. Of course, unless you like get it on the end there and slide it towards something and then use the little curvy bit to pop it up. The other thing is, once it's greasy, your hand slides down the thing, and you can't get, and like when you can't get a grip on it, and when you're trying to like lever the tyre irons, your hands are just slipping up these things, and like you're trying to hold it, and it's just popping away, like a pip popping away from your hand. There's no knurling on here. There's no there's no indentations for grip or anything, which might be helpful. This particular case of doing this job without taking the wheel apart, some of these with a slight angled tooth on one end, so you can come in on a real gnarly angle to get under the edge of the wheel itself. Whereas if that little tip had like a little curve coming off, you could much easier get it into the tyre to get it started to come up and over that edge. So that could potentially be another little design. Anyway. Turn it.